Here is today's genealogy tip. Set a timer. This is probably the best and most effective time management research technique when it comes to genealogy. Tell yourself, and anyone else in your life who is affected by your hobby, that you will only spend a certain amount of time that day on research. Make this declaration before you start research for the day. It can be any amount of time you deem reasonable, or that you and your spouse or other loved one agree upon. Then, use either an egg timer or an alarm clock feature on your smartphone to set an alarm for that amount of time. Don't set it until you actually start researching, and make sure it is clear that transportation time to and from research facilities doesn't count. Then, no matter how hard it may be, make yourself stop and get back to the other things and people in your life when the alarm goes off. You can always do more research another day. To learn more about genealogy tips, be sure to visit ancestralfindings.com. Happy searching! You've been listening to the Ancestral Findings podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Number 2, have a clear research plan for each day. It's easy to get led down different paths during a day of research. You start out intending to look up only one branch of your family, or even just one person, and you end up finding so much more. It's interesting, so you follow the clues to see where they lead you. Before you know it, you are researching a different branch or person entirely. Start out each research day with a clear plan of what you will be working on, and stick to it. Keep notes of any additional interesting information you find along the way, including where you found it, so you can find it again, and use it for your research on other days. But stick with what you set out to look up that day and don't deviate from it. It takes discipline, but it will also keep your research time to a more reasonable amount for you and your loved ones. Number 3, only go where you plan to go. If you're having an in-the-field research day where you're visiting cemeteries, libraries, archive buildings, town historians, town clerks, churches, courthouses, or other places away from your home, there is always the possibility of finding leads you never expected to find. These leads may cause you to want to go to places not on your list for the day. You'll probably think that just one more stop won't hurt, and may help you find exciting new information on your family. While this may be true, it can also lead to a much longer day on the road than you planned, resulting in irritated loved ones who were expecting you back ages ago. Stick to your planned list of places to go that day, and return to any new potential places to visit you discover during your trip on another research expedition. Number 4, use the child controls on your tablet. Many of today's new tablets have child controls that parents can set to turn off the tablet after a certain amount of time. This limits the time a child spends on that tablet each day, so the child gets to enjoy other things too. If you're doing genealogy research on your tablet, set those child controls for yourself. Make sure you give yourself enough time to do the research you want to do that day. Then let the tablet do its work. When it's off, you won't be able to turn it on again in child mode until the next day, though adult mode is still accessible to you. Let that be your clue to stop researching for the day and come back to it again tomorrow. Number 5, ask for a phone call. Tell your spouse, friend, or anyone else with whom you live with that you will stop researching for the day at a certain time. Then ask them to call you at that time and remind you of your promise to stop and come home. Actually hearing the voice of the person who expects you back soon after the phone call is a very good motivator to stop for the day and leave additional research for another time. It is hard to stop researching once you get started. Once you've been doing genealogy for a while, you will realize this. While it's okay to get lost in it once in a while, don't make it a habit if you have other people depending on you. Use these time management techniques, and you will always stay on your loved one's good sides. Have you heard of Social Security applications as a means of genealogical research? In the next AncestralFindings.com podcast, I'll talk about this record source and how it can advance your genealogy research endeavors. Happy searching!